Okay, really quickly, I'm going to have to go as fast as I can because I don't want to go over my limit for YouTube video length. I'm going to show you how to assemble the CFW bolt assembly if you bought the raw bolt and are using your own parts, and what to look for. First thing you're going to do is check your bolt for fitment in your upper. It should just slide in. It shouldn't catch on anything. It should just slide back and forth, and this one does. You might have to bend these tabs a little bit right here. It could catch on that. One thing to look for. The other thing you're going to do is just check your cocking knob and make sure it's going to fit in the slot okay. And this one does. First thing you're going to do is you're going to put your extractor in. The extractor spring goes in first. This hole right here is often undersized. Now this causes light primer strikes and it doesn't pivot like it should. It's got a slight taper to it so that when you drive your roll pin in from the bottom, it will hit the open and go through. And on some of the newer ones, that hole's so small that it actually binds on the roll pin and it causes those failures. So that's just something to look for. So what I like to do is I like to just stick it in like this, and I use a nail from the top, small finishing nail that fits in the hole, and line everything up, squeeze it all together. And I use the nail to hold it in place while I drive the roll pin in. Okay, so you start your roll pin. I'm going to go ahead and start it on here. I'm not driving that nail into the little cutting board I'm using to protect my countertop. Then I have these roll pins, I guess you call them. This is for an M16 set, but it works fine for this. I'm using it to just finish off that roll pin. That it's got a little round tip to it that it bites into the center of the roll pin and holds itself. Okay, that's done. Next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna check it for function, and all I'm going to do is take a spent case before I put the firing pin in and just make sure that it holds it, and it does. I'm just going to look at it and make sure that it moves freely, and it does. Everything looks good. Next thing I'm going to do is the firing pin. Firing pin goes in like that, and it may, okay, it's a little tight in there, and that was purposely made like that because I wanted it to hold the retainer pin in. So that needs to be knocked down a little bit. I'm just going to go ahead and knock it down with that. I'm going to use my roll pin again and just knock it down a little bit more, but not too much. Okay, looks like it's lined up now. Stick the retainer pin in, which is catching it, and use a piece of paper to protect it. Knock it down. Okay, the firing pin is in. Now I'm going to go ahead and do the recoil rod. Now I modify the recoil rod in that I take a little bit off the back here because they're a little bit long. Some of them are a little bit long for some people's uppers, and if you can't get your front pin in that holds the upper to the lower, there's a good chance that this is actually pushing against your trunnion. It's a little bit long, so take a little bit off the back. It prevents that from happening. And I put a little slot in there for the firing pin for the paperclip mod, which is common to those that follow me, so on Uzi Talk. So I've already cut the recoil spring, cut 15 coils off. This is for Sid T's bolt. He specifically asked me for 15 coils off, didn't want to mess with it, knows it's going to run. So I'm going to go ahead and assemble that. I'm going to go ahead and stick my paper clip in. Mend it up. I'm going to trim a little bit because I know it's too long. And fold it over. Still too long. It's not what I usually use a pair of wire ducks for this, not needle nose pliers, so it's a little bit easier for me with that. Bend it over like that, and pull this thing over. Go ahead and trim that. Go ahead and take a hammer and knock that into the slot that I cut. Just make sure it all functions, and it does. Slide it in, feel it, it feels good. So that's it, that's how it's assembled, really quick. So, thank you.